Let's talk about the beginning of sickness and disease. Okay, last week we talked about medicines and doctors. I have to get it out of the way because I don't want anybody to think that the Bible is against medicine. It's not, and we have seen how medical practitioners have a role, a big role in the scriptures, and so we look at passages wherein the prophets were asking, "Don't you have physicians?" And so these are the word for physician or doctor is also Rapha. Okay, so God is the God who heals, but there are human physicians, human Rapha, and so that is biblical. Now I know that some Christians who went to the extreme, and they say, "Well, don't go to the doctors. They don't know what they're talking about." Well, they do know something. And they do know a lot of things, some of them. It's better than for those who doesn't know anything, who pretends they know something. Okay? Now, the Bible declares that knowledge shall increase in the last days. And so even in the Christian circle, for example, Oral Roberts, when he built the City of Faith, it's a medical hospital. The sole purpose of that, I think he started building that on the 70s. The sole purpose why he built the City of Faith is to find cure for cancer. One floor of that hospital, I think the fourth floor, was dedicated for cancer research. And so he gathered some of the best brains in medicine who deals with cancer. A lot of Christian physicians, not all are Christians, but a lot of Christian physicians. Try as much as possible. Christian nurses, everything Christian. You will not go through any procedure in that hospital without somebody laying hands on you and praying for you. There are accounts of, there was this story there that one ministerial couple, the old man died. It was I think a stroke or something. So the old man died. And the lady, the old lady, refused to give him up and keep praying and praying and praying. And then after a few days, the man lived. Shortly after being proclaimed clinically dead. And so she was very happy when he woke up. But upon opening his eyes, he got upset with his wife and said, "Why did you pray?" And the wife was shocked. It turned out he was already in heaven. He said, "I saw Jesus." And he said, "I approached Jesus, and when I approached him, he looked at me and says, 'You've got to go back.'" And he said, "Why?" Because he liked what he saw. "Why?" And he said, "Your wife is praying, asking me that you should leave." So he said to his wife, "Why in the world did you call me back?" You see, there are stories like that. But look at this. It was built by man. Once that hospital was built, you know, him and Lester are very close friends. Both of them built universities. Both of them did a lot of things differently but same, like feeding the hungry, doing evangelism, planting churches. So Oral Roberts did something that Lester has not done, and that is to build a hospital. So Lester prayed to the Lord. This you will not find in the books, you know. Lester prayed to the Lord and asked the Lord, "Shall I build a hospital?" And God spoke to him and said, he who builds 2 rivers of water has to swim in both. God told him that. And so he stopped. And Lester Samuel said this, after Oral Roberts built the hospital, that's when he started getting sick. Yeah. But he's not against medicine. There are certain things that we really don't know why it happened, but we have examples, and we can continue to search. But all in all, it is the Lord who heals us. Now again, as I told you, human physicians in the scriptures, the Hebrew word that is used is also Rapha. But the Lord says, "I am the God who heals." Let me read to you again our main text. Exodus 15, verse 22. Then Moses led Israel on the Red Sea, and they went out to the wilderness of Shur. They journeyed for 3 days in the wilderness without finding water. They came to Marah. but they could not drink the water at Marah because it was bitter. That is why it was named Marah. The people grumbled to Moses, "What are we going to drink?" So he cried out to the Lord, and the Lord showed him a tree. When he threw it into the water became drinkable. The Lord made a statute, an ordinance for them at Marah, and he tested them there. He said, "If you will carefully obey the Lord your God, do what is right in his sight, pay attention to his commands, and keep all his statutes, I will not inflict any illness on you that I inflicted on the Egyptians. I am the Lord who heals you." Now notice, after he prayed the Lord, he found a tree and throw it in the water. So you will find books that talks about the natural, logical explanation for the miracles. Like, for example, the turning of water in the Red Sea. They say that north of that body of waters, there is like a mud landslide of red clay. And so it always decolors into red the waters. Of course, it has been debunked. There's books written about that also. And so now there is one explanation here. They say that this tree, actually the wood absorbs toxins. We know that there are trees like that. For example, you will notice that I don't know if they have something like that here in the U.S., but in the Philippines, the street healers, those who will make you heal right now, but tomorrow you die, the street healers, they have this piece of wood that if you are bitten by a snake, you put it in, it absorbs the toxins. You know what I'm talking about, right? And after it absorbs the toxins, you boil it, and the toxins will leave the wood, and so you can use it again. Now, is it real? I don't know. I have not been bitten by snakes, and I have eaten snakes, but I have not been bitten by snakes. So I do not know if it's true. I don't want to find out. Okay. I also know, for example, that in the Philippines, in the streets, you will find dentists. Dentists who never studied, they will ask you if you have toothache or something, and they will pour some herbal thing. And I have seen this because everybody can see it. They will pull the tooth from you in public, and you will feel nothing. Well, it turned out those liquids are actually herbal things that will make you numb. So you were able to pull your teeth, but you die of infection, because it's in public and they don't wear gloves. After that, there are so many side effects. So what is this? These are people trying to practice medicine without knowledge. That's why little knowledge is extremely dangerous. That's why I always tell you, if you're sick, go to the experts. Go to those who have diligently studied. They will make mistakes. Everybody does. But at least you have a body of brains that look at your condition. One thing that I appreciate about hospitals is you have a primary doctor, and then if you have a problem, then they consult. It's ridiculous, to the point of being ridiculous. Well, that is not my expertise. I cannot inject that. Why? That's not my expertise. Doc, you will just inject this. I'm not allowed. You see, they are afraid of being sued or something. But the specialization is so much. And so, and the Bible talks about in the multitude of wisdom, there's safety. And so those are the advantages. But then, no matter what they say, some doctors will ultimately tell you, I don't know why it happened. Supposedly my brother has one of my brothers who died, supposedly has a cancer that like dormant. And so after he was married with children, it came back. It came out. And the doctor said sometimes things like this are just sitting there until a person goes through stress and intense agony. Then it comes alive. You see? What triggers it? They will give you words, but they really don't know. Okay? So the limited knowledge. That's why ultimately we have to find the healer. And the Bible gives us the answer. It is Jehovah, the Lord who heals. Okay? Now, so I feel a little bit free to talk about this beginning of sickness and disease, because I already settled some things about doctors. Today, I recognize that in spite of all the advances in medical science, they are still very limited. Why? Because sickness has a spiritual origin. It has a spiritual nature. I told you all sickness and disease are direct or indirect results of sin. There was a time when there was no sickness. So it's direct or indirect results of sin. I'll discuss that in detail when we talk about agents of sickness. There are agents of sickness, and we are required also in the scriptures to be competent in life. Okay, some say competent in life. You know, we would like to be competent in our jobs. We have to be competent in life. And this is a point that I rarely hear addressed. But we really need to be competent in how we live. Because if we are not, then we can make ourselves sick, and perhaps that will be the end of it, you know. However, in spite of those understanding that there is a spiritual force behind this, I feel, well, because in the ancient times and even today, some cultures still believe that really some ailments are caused by something beyond our knowledge. They're changing their language now. In the ancient times, they'll say they're demons. Today, they'll say it's beyond our knowledge. It's beyond our expertise, okay? So let's do that. By the way, in the example of Job, the first thing that the friends of Job blamed was Job. Repent. You offended God. So now they are blaming God right away. You offended God. The other day we were talking. Now, of course, it's discipline language, but Anna and I were talking about what's happening in North Carolina, in Tennessee, in Georgia, those that were devastated by this Hurricane Helen. And I think, I forgot the exact words of my wife. She blurted something like, oh, God has something to do with it. I said, Anne, be careful with your words. I said, the devastation, the Lord comes to heal. The enemy comes to steal, kill, and destroy. Our insurance industry will even put a phrase, they will not cover things that are acts of God. You see, so now, for every obligations that they don't want to pay, they blame God. Now, this is the insurance industry. So, the most basic of all questions regarding sickness and disease is the cause. Western medicine, by the way, is curative. Okay? You're sick, and so they see bruises, they see lumps, they'll deal with it. If they don't see anything, that's it. You're in luck. Eastern medicine is different. It cures, but it's preventive. They try to prevent it from happening. Now, there is a fusion that they have been trying to do. It's not been very successful. Why? Because of training. Okay? There is no standardized training in herbal medicine, given the culture of the Chinese. The Chinese don't like sharing what they know. Yeah. The father of Pastor Kinsa, I remember him, is a master chef in one of the Chinese restaurants in the Philippines. And he said, and he was telling me this when I was in Hawaii. He said, I really want to learn from these Chinese cooks. They're very good. But he said, they won't share. They'll die with their techniques. They'll die with their the special ingredients. So I said, how did you find out? He said, our main chef, the best one, he said, every time he comes to the restaurant, he will come at a certain time. So he said, I schedule my break when he is around cooking. I said, why do you schedule your break? He said, I will go to the bathroom, wash my face, wet my hair. You know how Filipinos, when we wet, Filipinos carry combs. I don't know if it's still being done today. Me, I put gel, so it will not move, you know. But we carry comb growing up, and you will find young and old men, when they are talking, they're just, even those with no hair, they'll just keep doing that, you know. Yeah. And then they'll get, I don't know if you guys have seen this, they'll get a cup of water, right? And they'll put it, and then they'll keep combing their hair. Because it's wet look. But actually it's wrong, it's not wet look, it's really wet. You know, because they really wear it and they'll just keep combing their hair. That's Filipino culture. I don't know if it's still being done today. So he said he will wash his face, and he will comb his hair. But he said he will position the mirror that he can see. Now, the Chinese will not suspect anything because Filipinos don't comb their hair for 5 seconds. You know? Well, I do that. The reason why when I cut my hair, I want it short is because I want quick. You know? But Filipinos, they look at the mirror like that. You know? I know a Filipino guy in America. Man, he irritates me when he do his hair. It takes him over 30 minutes. Yeah. He will do that, and then he will do, and then do it again. What are you doing? I want a perfect look, you know, so something like. So this Chinese never, but he said, I will see the ingredients, what he's doing. That's how he learned. That's how he learned every time that chef, because they won't share. Brother Willie even told me this, that we should have advanced a lot more in what we know, but each family will actually hide. We learned that Filipinos, you know, family recipe. For goodness sake, if you have a technique in how to cook sinigang, share it. No, it's my technique. We learn it from the Chinese. The Chinese won't share. That's why, for example, if you go to a Chinese doctor and he gives you a prescription, you better get those prescriptions from his pharmacy. Because each doctor has a different code. So if you bring it to another pharmacy, they won't know it. Yeah. And so they will guess some ingredients. Because we like to pretend that we know, even if we don't know. That's human nature after the fall. Do you know this? Yes. Even if they don't know. Yeah. Some businesses in America started that way. Okay? So that's what happened. And so knowing that, our knowledge remains to be very limited. I like the West because of the patent. You know, I think you invent something, you have 2 years to make money off of it by yourself. After 2 years, they will release it in public. Why? So that we can improve. And what I appreciate in the West is the open exchange of knowledge. Can you imagine with the advent of AI and robotics? I think a doctor in France can be operating in America with this computer technology and robots doing some things with the assistance of local doctors. That is amazing, because now you shorten the time difference and the need to fly somebody in an emergency situation. So the waiting time for the patients are cut a lot short. So these are improvements, but it's still very limited. So to deal with the problem, we need to get to the root of the problem. Otherwise, all that we will be able to do is superficial remedy. It's like, I have a financial need. Well, I have a friend before. He's a millionaire, very smart guy, magna cum laude at De La Salle University in accounting. And I don't need money. I made a mistake once. I vouched for somebody's debt because he was in need. So I called, and I paid it all. It's not my debt, but I paid it because I guaranteed it. But there was a need that I really need to address. And so I called my friend and said, hey, listen, I need 2,000 pesos, I said. Can you spare me 2,000 pesos? During the time, it was already a big amount. I said, I can pay, but I really need some help right now. So he looked at me and says, why do you need 2,000 pesos? So I said, well, I guaranteed a loan. I said, I'm paying it, but the guy is jammed right now, so he needs the money back. I can pay it, I said, but it's little by little. So he did not loan me money. But he began to open the scriptures to me that I never understood before. Do not put up your hand in guarantee to your neighbor. And he said, that is a black hole that he said, you're a young minister. And he said, you will have more years of ministry. If you keep having mercy and compassion and you guarantee the debts of others, you will dig a big hole. He said, arrest it right now. That is not biblical. And he showed me from Proverbs, you are not supposed to put up your hands in guarantee over the debts of others. Okay? And of course, I counter that, but unless, of course, it's your immediate family, because what can you do? It's your family. I mean, if your son, your daughter. But even that, there's limits. If they're grown up, they want to make foolish decisions, let them make a fool out of themselves. There are always limits to these things. So when he opened it up, we stayed as friends. And I said, whoa, I didn't know that. So I found the root of the problem. Okay? I lack wisdom. That was the end of it. I never did. Somebody will come to me and loan some money. Unless I can give the money away, I won't loan. Okay? Unless I can give it away. Because I have learned my lesson. And so these are the things that we need to discuss. You are bloated. You are high blood pressure and all of those things. Well, you buy Ozempic or whatever. How do you call that? I heard Ozempic they are using it now. It's not. You're not dealing with the root of the problem. The root of the problem is your appetite. You know, it's called self-control. Knowing you are full, but there's plenty of food. It doesn't matter. You know, not because, well, there's plenty of cars. Are you going to buy every car? The same thing with food. Not because there's plenty of food means you eat everything. You just say, I'm already full. By the way, if you will be sensitive to your body will tell you what it rejects. You know, when I was younger, I liked chocolate. Man, I will eat that thing like crazy. The older I get, my body rejects it. Yeah. I have repulsion for grease. I eat hamburger, the best hamburgers. I still eat them. But I have repulsion for food with a lot of grease. I got sick when I was young, just eating fried rice. Just fried rice. There's too much oil that they put. I got sick. And so after that, I repel that, you know. I like patis. But there was a time that my body rejects it. If you will just be sensitive to your body will tell you what it can take and what it cannot take. It's the same thing with other things that we do. For example, you work, your body is complaining, I need to sleep. Your body will tell you that. A fool will say, I can wake up. Willpower. No, that's foolish power. Okay, your body needs rest. Rest it. Okay? You're doing workout. I know that some of you, like my kids, they do foolish exercise. Sometimes I wonder, are you going to compete for the Mr. Universe? Then drop out of school and just do workout. Otherwise, work out 3 times a week and be happy with your health. Because unless that is your full-time engagement, you cannot do that. Okay? And by the way, when you're working out, your body complains. That's why I don't like this motivational talk. You can do it. You're already dying. You know, you're almost ready to die trying to bench press that thing. But you want to show everybody, especially if there are girls in the gym. You want to show everybody. So you're dying. It's pride. You see? There comes a point, you feel that and you say, stop, my body cannot take it. If you don't listen to your body, you're killing yourself. Thus, there are injuries that occurs while you are trying to strengthen your bodies. Your body actually becomes weaker. You see? That is what I'll be discussing a lot more later, perhaps tonight. Okay? But normally, when something very unfortunate happens, some people blame God. Okay? This includes natural disasters, as I was saying about insurance. And then when something good happens, we don't give credit to God. So, we have to fix the way we think about these things. So, let's go back to the beginning after God created Adam and Eve. When God created Adam and Eve, God made an observation and say, everything is good or everything is perfect. That was before the fall. The fall or the disobedience of the first man brought sin into the world. It gave access. The Lord gave us dominion over the face of the earth and everything in it. That's why, for example, by the way, this is where you use some wisdom because some people are just very fanatical about this. Everything on earth was made for us. Genesis chapter 1, verse 1 and 2. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And the Bible says, and the earth was without form and void. The Hebrew word is tohu vavohu. It means, here's this guy from Rockford, Illinois. It was used also in Jeremiah. Who's this guy? Dr. Robert Young. He said, in his translation, that the earth was not habitable for man. Meaning, the earth is formed, but it's not habitable. Man can't live in it. Now, some people believe that during that time there were dinosaurs. I'm not into those things, you know. That is too much for my brain to handle. They found some marks in Texas of footprints of dinosaurs and human beings. It leaves imprint. But the amazing thing about this imprint is the way the imprint was made, none of them looks like they are in a rush, like they are running. So the one who found these marks says, it seems like they're friends. Okay? Now, of course, Jurassic Park will disagree with you, but that's the movie, okay? I still believe in young earth. Now, if you say, well, I believe in old earth. Well, you can believe whatever you want. It's something that we really don't know, you know? But there was a time when there was no sickness. And so God made earth habitable, everything that we need for life and godliness is here. You want to eat well? Boy, the vegetation is very good. In fact, He spread seed all over the world, but never allowed those seed to spring. There is no water. Why is it that it did not sprang up? Because there is no population to take care of these resources. I am convinced that some of the resources that we are finding out right now is because there is enough brain to manage it. Okay? Now some of you will be saying, well, you know, let's use clean gas, clean coal, clean everything. You know, the ancient people don't think about those things, and they live healthy, they live strong. You know, why did God put oil on earth if you don't need oil? Do you need that for your shampoo only? You know, let's dig some oil in Saudi Arabia for lotion or skin care. No, there is a need for that. Okay, now some people can corrupt that need, the need that is addressing. And so when all of these activists saying, no, this is global warming, forget it. I just don't get it. Why? Because I believe the Bible. The Bible says the earth will melt with fire. Now, that's global warming. Okay? And you think there's something that you can do about it? No, nothing that you can do about it. Some people are worried about this, about that. If you listen to all of these people, you will spend your life being worried about everything. Hey, you know what I don't like is you go to the grocery store. Oh, I like that. How many calories? Ang taba-taba mo na, calories pa iniisip mo. You know? I mean, my kids will be looking at the menu, 200 calories. Forget that, you know. There comes a point we have to put sense. Am I going to spend my life counting calories? Now, that is a problem because in the schools here, they are not teaching you math anymore. But you're going to get your cell phone and add. I can't believe this. You pay $1 in the grocery store, you spend 60 cents, and they are punching on the calculator. $1 minus 60 cents equals what? And then you're going to pretend you know how to count calories? You see, there's something that is wrong about this. We become so much into this that sometimes we don't enjoy anymore. I have heard people fight over this. One of Anne's cousin woke up one morning, was going to cook bacon, I think, and egg in a pan. And, and this girl in the house is screaming at him, "What's wrong with you?" What happened? "Meat don't touch my pan." What in the world is that? You know? And you look at the girl who said that, she looks malnourished. Oh, but she eats healthy. Looking like she's dying. These are the contradictions, you see. There comes a point, now I believe in healthy eating, I'll touch on that thing later. The fall or the disobedience of this first couple opened the domain of man. This is our domain. The earth is our domain. It allowed the enemy to come in and steal, kill, and destroy. So the day they sinned against the Lord is the day they started dying. It's also the day we started dying. Romans chapter 5, verse 12. Therefore, just as sin entered the world through one man, and death through sin, in this way, death is spread to all people because all sinned. Yeah. By the way, one of the things that the Lord gave us is the enjoyment of life. Say enjoyment of life. So let me just ask you this. Forget my face, okay? Because it just looks like that. But I'm really enjoying myself, you know. But ask yourself, are you enjoying yourself? It really looks like it, you know. Because the Bible says if you are willing and obedient, you will enjoy the fruit of the land. That means everything that this earth has to offer, you will enjoy it. So some people, they're so strict on these things, and they look like they are miserable people. Well, you're already unbiblical, because you're supposed to be enjoying the fruit of the land. That's why when we go out and eat, or when we eat something, or we go out something, I always ask my kids, do you like what you order? What's the point of ordering something that you will not enjoy? Why go out? Just stay in, you know? Because you're supposed to enjoy the fruit of the land. And some of us are doing something and we are grumbling all the time. Why am I doing this? Don't ask me that. Ask yourself that. Why are you doing that? And you are pouting all the time? You're not enjoying life. The joy is very necessary for survival. Not like Kamala Harris, okay? But not her joy. But the joy is very important, because the joy of the Lord is our strength. If you lose this joy, you lose the strength. Our work is better for us when we are enjoying it. But that's why don't go to your work complaining about your boss, complaining about your company. While going there, quit. You know, find another job first and then quit. Because if you're not enjoying it, you will add misery to that company. And so you will find in some of these grocery stores, you check out or you ask for help, and the help is just frowning at you. I hate this job. Then why are you here? Yeah, I hate this job. That's a bad demeanor. When sin entered the world, or the human paradise on earth, it directly or indirectly caused death and all kinds of sickness and disease, because sickness and disease is one of the primary agents of death. Growing up before being born again, I really thought that I will be dying in my 50s. And I don't know about this, but I don't know if you had this expectation. Before I got born again, my expectation is either I will die, freak accident, a fight, or sickness. What I hated in my mind is if I die in sickness. Because I was thinking of some of the people that I've seen die in sickness. Some are in wheelchairs. I don't want to suffer like that. And I was, as an unbeliever, I was thinking, I'd rather die in a freak car accident. Like a big truck hit me and I was flattened on the ground. I don't know what happened. I was just gone, you know. Or I was thinking, if I'm going to be in a fight, I don't want to be stabbed. I just want a gunshot to my head, you know, just out right away. Because I was not born again, you see. But there is this expectation that you will die either out of sickness and disease, terminal disease, freak accident, or something that's just brutal like that. And that is coming from an unrenewed mind. So, well, Pastor, I don't have that. Really? Then what comes out of your lips the moment you start feeling pain? Oh, this is tumor. Oh, this is cancer. You know. I remember when it was only hepatitis A and B was the worst during that time. And so we have annual medical checkup in the church. And my pastor called me in after the checkup and says, Jose, how are you doing? I said, oh, I'm fine. He said, well, you've got hepatitis B. I said, okay. And he looked at me. He said, Jose, you have hepatitis B. I said, okay. And he was expecting a reaction like, oh, am I dying? I said, okay. And I said, oh, well, God heals. That's all I said. And he looked at me and said, oh, your faith is up. I have no problem with you. And you know, I'll be honest with you, I did not take, don't follow my example because, well, honestly, I did not take any medication. I just got healed. Yeah. I have no fear. But I use wisdom. I went home, I told my mother, separate all of my plates and cups and spoon and fork. And my mother says, why? I said to my mother, don't ask any question, just separate them. I said, after you wash them, I want them in my room. And I don't want anybody drinking from it, eating from it, or touching it. That is just for me. And that's it. Yeah. And I got healed. I have no fear. The Lord took away fear from me during that time. And so I was not looking every day, oh, is the color of my skin changing? No, I don't do that. Yeah. Because one of the blessings of the new covenant is God removes the fear of death. Are you listening to me? Some people are just very afraid. That is not part of the new covenant, okay? Of course, we have to grow into that. Now, what we just said, sin entered the world through Adam and Eve and all of those things. We got it from Adam. And so we can illustrate that simply like this. Children from parents who are addicted to alcohol and drugs can suffer and will most probably suffer because of their parents' sin. But I've read that there are children born from a parent with HIV and they were born with built-in immunity. Now, I don't know what its future effects are and whether they are contagious to others, but these are amazing things that I cannot explain. And doctors says, well, they have immunity, you see. But, for example, if you are a parent and you are not careful with how you take care of yourself, our children can suffer. Yeah. When Anne was pregnant, because Anne there was a lot of you who knows my wife, you know she can be very hard-headed. And the doctor, Anne, who among our kids are not, how do you call it, high risk? Everybody's high risk, right? They are not high risk. They were all right. They were not high risk, they were just expensive. Yeah. Especially Joseph. Well, Joseph is really high risk. And John, you know how John injured his ankle. He has been doing that since he was in the womb. Yeah. I'm not joking. That's why when he came out, he did not even cry. Because the umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. And he was black and blue. And he did not cry, and the doctor was worried. I was ready to follow him after he was born, but the doctors were there, you know. Cry, boy, you know. But ultimately, he cried. And I've seen it. The color of his skin changed after he released some air. The color of his skin changed. Yeah. So if you see him acting like he's stumbling all the time, it's since he was in the belly, he's been like that. Don't even. Sometimes you will find John finding stuff and just wrapping it around his neck. That's what he has been doing since. Yeah. That's not a joke, but that is true. And DJ will be saying, what is Dico doing? Well, he's doing what he has always done since he was conceived. Oh, I can't imagine what he will do after he got married, you know. And the wife will be saying, are you committing suicide? Something like that, you know. So, if we are not careful, those whom we love can suffer because of our activities. Okay? My wife has a goal. It's not my goal. It's her goal. But I like the goal. She said, at a certain age, she said, because we still pay mortgage on our first house. Oh, but we have reduced so much of that already. Because every time we have extra money, we put it on the principal. My wife calculated that in few years, if I just don't touch the money, she said, we will pay off even the remaining mortgage. So we will go to heaven with no debts left to our children. You know, That is our goal, that we will leave them no headaches in terms of these things. Why are we doing this? Because what we do affects the next generation. Okay? I did my best to discipline them, because if I did not discipline them, it will affect the next generation. It will mess them up, and the way they will raise their would-be kids will be messed up also. By the way, every generation it just gets worse if we don't do it right. And so what we do affect our children. I told you I have a friend in the slums. Well, I have a lot of people that I play with growing up whose parents are just, I mean, they're criminals. No other, they're criminals and thieves. One of them, his dad, stole a brand new white Volkswagen, and the police chased him and close to our place, and there was a shootout. The white car turned red. He died. So you will think that the child, who was a classmate of mine, would learn his lesson. But when we were already a little bit old, he said this: I'm going to be just like my father. His dad showed a bad example, but he said this: I'm going to be just like my father, because his dad was a street bully. I mean, he walks his big body, he walks, and people respect him because he beats them up. So he said, I'm going to be just like my dad. He died like his dad. He was in and out of the jail, and ultimately was shot by the police. You see, what the parents did affected the children. And so what we are doing affects our children, whether we accept it or not. Okay? Now, in matters of sickness, look at this, John chapter 9, verse 1. As he was passing by, he saw a man blind from birth. His disciples asked him, Rabbi, who sinned, this man or his parents, that he was born blind? Neither this man nor his parents sinned, Jesus answered. This came about so that God's work might be displayed in him. Now, that's a bad translation. What actually Jesus was saying in the Greek is, this happened, but this will facilitate the showing of the glory of God. Okay, that's my amplified rendering of the text, because it's not a something that God did to do this, like he's trapping, or it's a setup. No, any decent scholar will tell you the same thing. They will use different words, but they will tell you the same thing. It's not causative. Okay, and so God can turn things around. It's just like God doesn't want Joseph to be sold by his brothers as a slave. But what you meant for evil, God turned around. God can work through our circumstances. So no matter how bad we mess up, if we allow the Lord to work in us and through us, He can turn those things around for His glory. And that's one of the amazing demonstration of the grace of God. I mean, have we not messed things up? And then we turn to God, we humble ourselves, and God turned around and something good came out of it. That's the specialty of the Lord. But there has to be humility that precedes before it happens. So our bodies, also as designed by God, is meant to resist sickness and disease. Proof, immunity. Okay? What is this? Athletes, they are addicted to their own morphines, because we know now that when you do extraneous physical activities, your body produces morphines and endorphins, so it will allow you to fight up those pain. Have you noticed there's pain? By the way, pain can be very addictive. Some people miss a pain because it has an addictive element to it. But we have what we call as an immunity, that our bodies fight it off. Like for example, COVID-19. We know more about that now, but we don't know everything. Hey, wear a mask. Just quarantine yourself. Stay in your house. And so a lot of people are just afraid. You can feel the fear, even in this church, you know. And people suddenly has an opinion on everything. Well, but the other voice says, no, don't do that. Don't lock down. Because remember the initial thing is this one strand of flu. And one of the explanations was, let our bodies develop immunity. By the way, we have states that did not lock down, and they did very well. Okay? So now, what happened was, it turned out to be true. Lockdown was not necessary. Yeah. Some countries overseas who did not lock down, South Korea did not lock down, recovered quite fast. And have you noticed? If you're following the news, again, it's an election cycle again, but they are saying, I don't know how many new strands of COVID they are announcing. Fauci was still at it before, you know, and another strand more powerful than before. Have you noticed the Americans did not bite it anymore? They're sick of it. They didn't. It's not biting anymore. I mean, some new strand. It's not biting anymore. Why? Because we learned. We lost a lot of money. We lost a lot of jobs unnecessarily. Yeah. And now people are saying, well, our bodies adjusted to it already. Okay. Now listen. What happened when the Europeans came to this land? They brought sickness and disease from which the Indians have no immunity. That's the same thing. Okay? Something from Wuhan, China, came to the world that we're not used to it. It's manufactured. But we have immunity. We really heal. We really do. It's an amazing thing. You know, some people in my counseling will come to me and they're heartbroken, this and that. And I will listen to them for an extended period of time, but I'll tell them, you will heal. I was like, you will heal. Believe me. Even if it's a heartbreak, you are heartbroken, you will heal. How do I know you will heal? That's our nature. We heal. God created us to heal. Now, you can extend that sickness. You can extend that mental malady. Some people are very weak in their mind, and they will not be able to recover. And some don't recover because you are weak. It's like I keep illustrating to you whenever I take an exam. I'm not one of those students, and after you take the exam, you sit down with the other students and say, what mistakes did you make? Did you get this right? I hate those sit-downs. While taking the exam, I know, well, if you know what you learn, while taking the exam, you already know which questions you guess. You already know which questions you missed. So I already know if I have a bad grade. Why talk about it? Oh, I missed that. And some of them will slap their face. Why do that? You're already F and you still slap your face. No, preserve that face. Maybe that's the only capital that you will have left, you know. But preserve the thing. And I will not do that. I'll go home right away or maybe watch a movie or something. And then I'll start computing. I get an F this time. If I get an A next time, the average will be a C. That's what I say. And then I'll have an A again. The average will be a B or a B minus, something like that. That's how my mind works. I just keep moving on. Because we heal. Okay? If we don't get that, we sulk. But we do heal. That's the nature of that. Your bodies will fight any sickness and disease. Now, if your immune system is compromised because you are not competent in life, you abuse your body, then the ability to overcome whatever the sickness throws at you. Do we have cure for common colds? But we recover. We recover. Your body fights that. You know? Whatever it is, that's how God created us. And so that's already a plus. That's already a plus. That shows God wants us to be healed. However, if your mind is weak and you have not renewed it with the Word of God, all these negatives will come. By the way, there are studies made that if you come, for example, to a doctor very afraid, your body produces chemicals. I have a book published by the University of Chicago, The Science of Fear. Yeah, the kind of chemicals that it produces when you're afraid. And sometimes it's bad going to the doctor very afraid. Because you're secreting chemicals that will interact with your body. And it will be bad for you. You know? So sometimes doctors will wait for you to calm down before they do something about it. Yeah. What do you do when somebody is drowning and you're trying to save that person from drowning? And the person is in panic. You tell the person to relax and they won't relax. What are you supposed to do? Hit the guy. Yeah. Knock him out cold. In cold water. You know? Why? Because if he keeps moving, not only will he die, both of you will die. Because he will grab onto you, choke you, and so instead of just him dying, both of you will die. You see? So that's why in water rescue, if the person won't come down, just hit him. So you knock him out cold, and then you can rescue him. Apologize later, you know. But that's just the way it is. You see, that's why we need to understand these compositions in our body. So let's talk about agents of sickness and disease. I'm trying to reach a certain point so that I'll finish this whole thing tonight. Okay. Well, the first common that we already know and learn is the devil. Okay, we can just simply put it as a group: the devil and his demons. Sickness and disease are weapons of the enemy against mankind. Yeah, there's a spiritual force behind every sickness and disease. In Job chapter 2, verse 7. So Satan left the Lord's presence and infected Job. It says, infected Job. God did not infect Job. Satan infected Job with terrible boils from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. You know, again, I told you one day I'm going to teach on the book of Job. I just don't find myself enjoying in the preparation yet, but the moment I feel okay, I'll teach the book of Job. It's an amazing book to study. Yeah. But here, he infected Job with terrible boils from the soles of his feet to the top of his head. You know that there are certain people with a devilish attitude like that. They want to infect others. By the way, if you study Chinese wars, they do that. They will, for example, some soldiers die that are infected from a plague. They will send a dead body to the other camp. That's devilish. Okay? We have to be careful with our attitudes. That's why I keep saying, if you know you're sick and you have a contagious disease, be very careful. Stop hugging people, stop kissing people. Because you're gonna contaminate them. That's devilish. Because here, Satan infected Job. How did he infect Job? He is the embodiment of sickness and disease, Satan. The most sick creature is the devil. Okay? So, he infects people with all kinds of things. So in Acts chapter 10, verse 38, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, and how he went about doing good and healing all who were under the tyranny of the devil because God was with him. I like this translation in CSB, tyranny. The other translations like NIV, oppressed by the devil. Presses, pressure coming from the outside. So the moment you're inflicted with any kinds of sickness and disease, that's an oppression. That's a tyranny. You know, sickness is a dictator. Yeah. You get sick of something, I don't want to stay on bed, you stay in bed. It dictates. It takes away your will. I wanna do this. The doctor says you'll kill yourself. That sickness will oppress you, will repress you, will take away your freedom. Yeah. Can you imagine those who are being quarantined? Man, they don't have any place to go. One of our friends during COVID, we always tell you what happened. The pastor died. When the doctor died of COVID, without asking permission from the family, burned him to ashes, and then came to the house with an urn and said, "This is your husband." How do you know it's your husband? You know how they burn them in the urn? It's chop suey out there. Everything is mixed. Maybe it's no longer a Filipino. Maybe it's a Japanese or something. But what? Oh, husband, you're not gonna do that, you know. But immediately the barangay came, cordoned their house. It tells everybody they have COVID. They cannot go out. So some friends came when they heard about members, brought some food because you can't go to the groceries. Brought some food. The barangay tanod is there. Ma'am, sir, you leave it to us. We'll give it to them. I mean, it's very intrusive. It takes away your freedom. That's tyranny. Tyranny is like that when your freedom is being taken away from you. Okay? So, this is what happened. And some people will regret, oh, I wish I took care of my body when I was young. I wish I took my vacation. No, it will take away your freedom. I know how many people that we talked to, they took their vacation late and they told us we did not enjoy it. We're just sick all the time. What bag is that, Ann? What luggage did you buy? The Tumi luggage. I'm from Northwestern. Ann was intrigued by the ad for sale, pair of Tumi luggages, his and hers. And then there's a note, don't take too long to take your vacation. So we went there. It's a rich neighborhood. And the guy told us the story. They were both successful. They're rich. Their house is big in a rich neighborhood in the suburbs. And it's in a cul-de-sac. And the wife says, honey, let's travel the world. We have money. And man says, yeah, let's do that. Oh, by the way, I have a contract. It will give us millions. When I finish this contract. Well, because it's successful. After a contract, under contract. Well, the wife is a head nurse in one of the hospitals of Northwestern. So making good money also. But she was the one saying, let's go travel the world. Well, they just end up keep working, no vacation. Well, one day the woman fell ill. Went to the doctor. Stage 4 cancer. Few months to live. The man panicked. Oh, honey, let's see the world. So immediately he ordered brand new Tumi luggage, his and hers, and he will show his wife. I already bought, and he bought the tickets. She died. That's why in the ad it says, don't take too long. You see? I don't care if he has the money. It doesn't matter if we have millions to keep here in the hospital. That sickness is tyrannical. It will rob you of happiness. It will rob you of relationships. How many divorce do you know it's because of? I know some divorce that, well, I cannot have sex with my wife or my husband anymore, so just divorce. Forget till death do us part. Yeah, it's sex that binds them. So when they can no longer have sex, we'll have to divorce. I've known marriages like that. That is brutal. I mean, that is what sickness and disease does. So I don't know why people love, some people love being sick, or looking for attention. No, it's a tyrant. And Jesus came so that we can you imagine the amount of self-confidence it takes from us? You're losing your hair. You know. The last time I went to the doctor, my wife was complaining, saying, how come you don't have my husband remove his wallet, his phone from his body? You weigh him as is. You know how we have all these gadgets? You don't even take away your shoes down. Everything is weighed in. Then after everything is weighed in, they will declare you are morbidly obese. Well, it includes the shoes. It includes the coins, you know. It includes the chocolates in your pocket. It includes everything. But they don't care. They just don't care anymore. You see? And so we need to learn how to take care of ourselves. Now, Peter spoke about this as he explains the ministry of Jesus from our passage when he says Jesus came to heal those who were oppressed by the devil. So healing from that passage in Acts 10:38 can be a liberation from demonic oppression. When you get healed, you are really just to be healed of common colds when you can breathe, right? You know how liberating it is, because when your nose is clogged up, you want to remove your nose. I mean, it's just. I like to breathe well, you know, so I'll put inhaler on my left and on my right, and I will walk in the house like that, because and then my wife says, you're not supposed to inhale that all the time. It turned out there is a warning there, right? You only inhale it 2 or 3 times. Who cares about that? I just snipped the thing like cocaine, you know. Yeah, but it's good because you don't want any clogging. That's just common cold. Can you imagine those who are paralyzed can't move anymore? Guys, have you been in pain? You cannot move freely. Yeah. And Jesus said, I come to set you free. Amen? Believe me, do not love sickness and disease in your body. Don't be proud of it. I had cancer. What is there to be proud of? Do you say, I'm going to hell? No, you don't do that. You have to fight it like it's an enemy. Because that is how God dealt with sickness and disease. It's an enemy that needs to be destroyed. And the word that was used in the scriptures is destroy. The Bible also talks about different sick spirits. Deaf and dumb spirit. Okay? Insane spirits. Some madness is caused by demonic oppression or possession. Infirm spirits. What's infirm spirits? Those who are just weak. Yeah. The wife of my pastor before in the Philippines, when she was inflicted with the sickness, she was just weak. You know? Until my pastor saw 2 demons coming out of their window. He was fasting, and he was asking the Lord for healing to heal his wife. And one morning, because when his wife could no longer move to the bed, she just sleeps in the couch. So he said to me, I was going to read my Bible on the couch where my wife was, and he said, there were 2 demons there, sitting down where she was sleeping all the time. And so he said, I chased it away in the name of Jesus. And he went to the window. They were in a high-rise condominium building. And he said, the face of these 2 demons, as he rebuked them, is, you know how those kids who are guilty and they have pouty faces that are trying to look like they're begging, oh, please allow me to stay. He said, my pastor said, that's the face of those 2 demons. They were looking pitiful, like begging, let us stay here. But he cast them out. After that, the wife was healed instantly. Doctors especially said, gone. It's an infirm spirit. You see. Now sometimes people are just so weak. That's a spirit of infirmity. Yeah. There are deceiving spirits, seducing spirits, and lying spirits. You know, lying is a sickness. Some people cannot help but lie. I mean, just lie. There is an oppression coming from lying spirit. Like, so look how simple it is. How are you doing? I'm okay. You're already dying and you say you're okay. Why can't you say I need help? You're not gonna die asking for help. But I'm okay. Yeah. And some people say, well, it's a small lie, it's a big lie. Well, lie is a lie. That's why when you can tell the truth, that is what I appreciate about my kids. Maybe not all the time, but when they do bad in their school, they don't hide from me. They tell me, oh, Papa, I did not do well in this exam. I can't believe it that some kids, they hide it from their mom. Oh, you have no right, Mom, Dad, to ask us about our grades. Yeah, but you keep asking for money. What if the mom says, you have no right to ask for our money? That's just a grade. How did you do in the last exam? Mom, that's embarrassing, don't ask me. You're not embarrassed when you ask for money. You're not embarrassed when you don't do household chores. You see? Why can't you tell your mom or your dad, I need help, maybe I need a tutor, maybe I need an extra help. My kids do that. Why can't you not understand this lecture? Joseph finally says, I graduate from the University of YouTube, because I could not help him. He will tell me, oh, Papa, this subject, I have no idea what you're talking about. So he went YouTube. I told you that. He said, Papa, I'm listening, but I can't understand my teacher. I said, why? He's Indian. And the Indian thing that they're good in English, but it doesn't sound like English at all. So I said, go to the TA. Papa, the TA is also Indian. Oh, talagang Indian pana ka na. So that's what happened. So he went to YouTube. That's how he passed. You know what? You say, what did Joseph do? If he's in school and he can't understand. You know, Joseph, I hope Joseph will watch this. Joseph is known for one thing in school. Sleeping during the class. He sleeps all the time. I think one of my kids went, same teacher, and says, "Oh, Joseph is your brother? He sleeps all the time." "Oh, John is your brother? Ah, he's late all the time." You know, the reputation that these boys develop, either sleeping or late. James, what's your reputation? I'm not going to ask you right now. It's our secret. But you will pay for it, okay? There is what you call also as wicked and unclean spirits. Why is it called unclean spirits? It's just unclean. Yeah. Physically and mentally. Have you noticed there are some people whose minds are just dirty all the time? I mean, they are suspicious all the time, just full of dirt. That's an unclean spirit. And there are some people who won't take a shower. Yeah, they already smell so bad. They won't. It's an unclean spirit. Some are attracted to. There's different manifestations, and foul spirits. And these are different ways of afflicting people. Okay, so. But there's limitation though. The devil, demon spirits cannot possess a Christian. They can oppress. Why? Because possession, in a lot of cases, can lead to insanity. When a person is possessed, they can be insane. They will lose their minds. And you will see it progressing in a person as the possession intensifies. They go crazy. Yeah. I have met people before who well, we had a member before in the Philippines who killed somebody accidentally. But he said, "I see his face." And he said, he finally came to me for counseling in the Philippines and said, "I'm going insane, Pastor." I said, "What happened?" He said, "I was in a fight and there was a knife, more than one knife because it's in the market." He said he grabbed a knife, so he said, "I grabbed a knife too, and I happened to be the one to have stabbed him." He said, I see his face. I could not sleep. Yeah, he died in the hospital. He said he was going nuts. You know, and when he was counseling with me, the eyes are, you know, he cannot. It's very deep now. He cannot sleep. He said, "I cannot sleep." He said, "I'm going insane." So that incident in his life, the devil first of all oppressed him, and now he's in the mood trying to possess him. But he's a Christian. So we did through an extended counseling. Boy, it was hard. It was hard. But he got delivered from it. Remember the demon possession, the pigs, Legion. This guy in the tombs, and he will be shackled with chains, and so they put him in the tombs. Yeah, so well, Jesus delivered him. He was naked, and you can just imagine after Jesus delivered him, go and tell what the good things that the Lord has done. I can just imagine Jesus taking off his mantle, because they wear a mantle, and covering him with it. Maybe they have extra clothes or something, but normally travelers are like that, and put it on him, because then the family was shocked, because he cannot be possibly going back to the town fully naked. But he was naked in the tombs. Can you imagine that kind of humiliation? I've seen it in the Philippines. There are crazy people in the Philippines who walks around butt naked. Yeah, and they are a laughing stock. Nobody, the government don't even help them. You would think the government will have enough sense to put them somewhere else. They are walking all over the place, and the government is not doing anything. Yeah. Well, I guess the government cannot do anything because they cannot vote. You know, they are insane. But this is just a malady that we see on a regular basis. So, in case like this, if somebody is demon possessed or oppressed heavily, like Legion, this guy, well, somebody has to exercise their faith for that person. Okay. That's why when Jesus cast out a demon, that person has no faith. But Jesus cast out a demon, the guy got saved. Because if you don't get saved, I have learned this from observation. Some people wants to be healed of their sickness, but they don't want deliverance from what made them sick. Okay? Like some people likes forgiveness of sin, but they enjoy sin. Now this is a dangerous thing, because in Psalm 103, verse 2, let me just read this to you in 3. My soul bless the Lord, and do not forget all His benefits. He forgives all our iniquities. He heals all your diseases. So they are put together. That's why there were times in the scriptures when Jesus will heal somebody and say, sons, your sins are forgiven thee. And Jesus asked the question to the religious leaders, which is better? Pick up your mat and walk, or your sons are forgiven thee. Because as far as Jesus is concerned, they are all, it's part of the atonement. I'll explain that tonight. Starting from the Old Testament. Part of our covenant is the covenant of healing. Remember in our main text, in Exodus chapter 15, if you will do the following things, if you will keep my word, I will put none of these diseases on Egypt on you. I am the God who heals you. You see, that's the covenant. I will be your health. We are born again, we're in the new covenant, which is established on better promises. Part of the benefit of our covenant with God through Jesus Christ, I am the Lord who heals you. I am your health. Now some people will say, well, it's after the 2nd century, it's done. That's according to you. That's not according to the Bible. If we entered into a covenant, we get born again, that's part of the package. Okay? Now we struggle with some Christians dying sick. That's besides the point. But part of the package in the Old Testament, some believers also die sick. Some kings die sick. Some priests die sick. And we can find clues that gives us explanation. However, part of the covenant is healing. If you do the following things, I am the God who heals you. Okay? When we continue in sin after God delivered us and we refuse to submit to Him, the danger is it can lead to a worse oppression or possession. Luke 11, verses 24 to 26. Luke 11, 24 to 26. When an unclean spirit comes out of a person, it roams through waterless places looking for rest. And not finding rest, it then says, I'll go back to my house that I came from. Returning, it finds the house swept and put in order. Then it goes and brings 7 other spirits more evil than itself, and they enter and settle down there. As a result, that person's last condition is worse than the first. Now, I want you to see something here. Part of the curse that fell upon the devil and the demons after they fall, they become restless. And it gives us one of the reasons why they are looking for a body to possess, to rest. See that? Now, Jesus said to us, well, you start in the Old Testament, I am your Sabbath rest. God is our rest. In fact, the Bible says in Hebrews, that rest is still available today. Why? Because one of the things that the enemy wants us to be is to become like him. Be restless. Do you have some work that your body is complaining, but you're just restless? You want to finish it. Everybody is saying you need to rest. You can't give it a rest. Problem is still going to be there. It may get worse if you don't rest. You know, if I'm doing something and I can, like whatever, studying, even in counseling, if I don't know what to say anymore, I'm not gonna squeeze my brain and try to come up with an answer when I don't have the answer. We'll pray and I'll say, we'll see you again next time, and pray about it. Okay. Because if you don't know how to control yourself, your mind will, and some people just cannot rest. One of the names of the devil is Beelzebub. The translation is the god of the dung, or the god of the flies. Have you heard fly? Bzzz, restless. They just keep on frantic labor. Yeah. Some people cannot. They are addicted to work. They think it's a blessing. Oh, we're making more money. No, you're making yourself sick. Yeah. And whatever money you have, you will not enjoy. And we have heard stories of people who made a lot of money but could not enjoy it. Yeah. They could not even eat the food they want. They're so sick. They couldn't even. You have all of this money, you can't even order a good-sized steak because your body will not be able to digest it. You cannot order this because you are. Can you imagine if you have all kinds of allergies? We have relatives with allergies, and when they come to the house, I cannot eat that. I cannot eat that. And sometimes I'll just joke because I give up. Just drink water then. You know, because everything you cannot eat. That's an oppression. You have to be. That's why when my kids started having allergies when they were born, I fought that thing off and won. None of them has allergies. They can eat everything. Because I was looking towards the future. I don't want to go to the restaurant and then I can order whatever I want, eat whatever I want, and my kids can only eat macaroni and cheese. You know? Well, when they were young, it irks my wife because that's all they order, macaroni and cheese. Why do you have to go to the restaurant? You know? They just order macaroni and cheese, but they get delivered from that also. Now it's more expensive, so when it becomes more expensive, what happens? Then you don't go out. You know? They need to be delivered from that also. Yeah, so. But here the description is they bring in something more evil. There are degrees of evilness. You will find that because we see degrees of evilness among people. Have you met people that they're just so evil? Look at this Hamas. I mean, look at the UN. It's one of the most evil organizations I've seen right now. It raped Israel on October 7th, and they're putting the blame on Israel. I mean, I look at that and say, the second Bush should have dismantled the UN. He was trying to before. Yeah. And now they are anti-Israel. The anti-Semitism in the U.S., I think, had risen up around over 200%, and all of those things. I mean, and you wonder, what in the world are you guys doing? There is no more common sense. There's no more sense. And you say, what? Degrees of wickedness. Some people, after they've seen that, they're touched. You know, some liberals I've heard says, man, this is just too much. This has to stop. There are degrees of evilness. And so sometimes you will find other people. And if you don't understand that, you don't know how to deal with it. You see. My pastor was telling me about they breed champion dogs. And he said to us, we have different kinds of dogs. He said, we have a dog that we just say something, stop, and the dog will stop. Some dogs you have to scream, stop, and it will stop. Some dogs you have to hit, and it will stop. Yeah. Have you noticed people are like that? Also. Some people you have to just say something and they stop. Some people, you hit them and still they won't stop. I mean, I've seen people just fight back without reason. I've seen kids fight their parents for no reason. Yeah. And you wonder, what is that? Some kids, they cry right away. Different degrees of evil. And sometimes, sin is already obvious, and they won't accept it. Spirit of lying, you see. These are the oppressive elements. That's the number one source. Next. Man can be an agent of sickness and disease. This can happen in so many different ways. We know about the first black tennis champion, Arthur Ashe. He got sick, he needs blood transfusion. What happened? Wrong blood. The blood that was given to him has HIV. So he died of HIV. Yeah. The guy is clean, he's a born-again Christian. Everybody who knows him is a kind man. But incompetence because of lack of knowledge on the part of the doctors. Who caused the sickness? The one who donated the blood. Maybe he doesn't know he's got AIDS. That's why, have you noticed right now, if you are going to do blood donation, they test your blood first, whether it's good for giving to others, because if you're sick, you know. Right now, for example, the standard test, when you go to the ER, everybody gets a COVID test, because they don't want to give the blood on somebody and make them even worse than what they were before. AIDS reached the Philippine shores because of an American GI full of plast. Yeah. They traced it. I was still in the Philippines during the time. Channel 2 was the one who made a documentary. An American GI who likes prostitutes, slept with a prostitute, and he has AIDS that he contracted somewhere else. So they found that woman. They got rid of him in Mabini during the time. She transferred to Bulacan. She was caught in Bulacan. And so a reporter was asking her, "Are you still a prostitute?" And she said, "Yes." "You know you have AIDS. Why are you selling yourself still? Every man that you sleep with, you contracted with AIDS." She said, "I've got to eat. I have no job." And so she knows every wicked man who sleeps with her will contract AIDS. So some men are being used, some men, in one of our medical missions in Bacolod, Anne's sister was with us. She is an OB-GYN, right? Is she? Oh, these doctors have so many specialties. She's an OB-GYN. And she intimated to us, a lot of the women that she looked at have polyps, and polyps, she call it polyps, right? STDs. And Dr. Lenlen told us this. They got it from their husband who had sex with them. And their husband have STD. And they don't even know it. And so here are wives contracting STDs because of their wicked husbands. So men can be agents of sickness. That's why when God commands, be clean, it's not just for you. Don't be silly. It's for people that you relate with. Don't be shaking my hand if you go to the bathroom and never wash your hands. That's not right. Are you listening? We need to watch out for the welfare of others. Okay? And it's 12:31, so we'll have to continue tonight. Erwin is hungry already. So. Did you learn something this morning? How to have communion? Oh my goodness, I forgot again.